Let's acknowledge something that many therapists are feeling: self-care fatigue. So, the constant reminders to take care of yourself can start to feel like just another responsibility. But for therapists, self-care isn't a luxury, it's actually a clinical necessity. Hi, welcome to the Living Stones podcast. My name is Allison, and today I'm joined by Anna. Anna, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Anna. I'm a counselor. I completed my master's degree last summer, and I love working with kids.
Yeah, well, welcome. Let's talk about self-care. Could you define it for us, just so we know what self-care actually is?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a common misconception that self-care is just like pampering yourself, eating a bucket of ice cream and, binging a TV show.
Yes.
But what self-care actually is more about nervous system regulation and setting boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about 6 uncommon techniques that therapists can use for self-care instead of taking a bubble bath or binging on ice cream. One of them would be sensory micro breaks. So that would be engaging in 1 or 2 specific senses for 60 seconds. So some examples would be touching the earth, so going outside, or smelling a favorite scent, maybe using essential oils. What are some other ways that we could take these sensory micro breaks?
Yeah, another one would be you could have a mint or a piece of sour candy and just really concentrate on the taste and the sensation. You could listen to a song or a calm piece of music for a minute.
Yeah. So this would provide immediate grounding in between your sessions. Yeah, I heard about a therapist that would wash their hands in between every session, almost like a reset, a way to engage in that sense. Yeah, like you said, putting a mint in your mouth or grabbing a coffee. That's what I tend to do. And if I'm seeing a lot of clients, that I'll be going on 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day. But yeah, engaging in something that grounds you as a therapist in between those sessions. Yeah. A second uncommon technique is externalizing emotional residue. So that would be reflective journaling or clinical debriefing, specifically to leave work at work. Now, what's some practical ways that a therapist could do that?
Yeah, I think being able to, if you can, consulting with a colleague, especially if there's something in particular weighing on you that you'd like to process and leave at work.
Yeah.
Having some kind of closing ritual where you're really acknowledging, like, I'm shutting my office door or, closing a drawer or something that's a physical representation of leaving work.
I like to pray after a long day of sessions. I pray at the end of sessions with clients who want that, but also by myself praying, leaving it in the hands of God, that He can care for this. What's cool about a relationship with God is that you can break confidentiality with Him. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. I often just pray all of my clients' names at the end of the day, especially if I don't have much more emotional energy to have a long conversation with God. I'll just sort of say their names.
Yeah, release them over and close the door. Absolutely. So doing something, one of these rituals helps us prevent vicarious trauma, and it symbolically closes that office door. So it leaves work where it's at so we can move on with our days. Yeah. The third one is a 1-minute pause. So this would be practicing pure stillness or slow breathing before heavy appointments. Have you ever done something like this?
Yeah, for sure. This is super helpful to just slow down and try to become as present with yourself as possible, because if you're more present with yourself, you'll be able to be more present with your client.
Yeah, I definitely can notice when there's sessions that I know are going to be particularly heavy. A lot of the work that we do is heavy, but there's situations where, that 1 minute of stillness, of preparing your heart and your mind to absorb what your client is going to share with you. So this deep breath activates the parasympathetic nervous system to ensure that you're regulated before coming in contact with a client. That's huge. Yeah, I think our clients can sense when we're not regulated.
For sure.
Especially our dysregulated clients. Yeah, they need us to be regulated.
Yeah, they're looking to us to help regulate them.
The fourth one is strategic no work zones. So creating physical buffer zones in your home where work talk or emails are strictly prohibited. Yeah, what could this look like practically?
I like this one. I think this looks like designating, like you said, designating work areas and designating living leisure areas. So I'm not going to check my email in my bedroom, for example.
Yes.
That's where I rest. And also time boundaries around it can be huge too.
Mhm.
Because, we live in a digital age, so we'll bring
Yeah.
work home with us on our computers, on our phones, but setting time limits on when we're going to engage with those things.
Yeah, a lot of us see clients virtually.
Yeah.
So even establishing where you see clients virtually, not having it be multiple areas of your home, but having a designated virtual office space in your home, it's huge. Yeah, I think we learned a lot during quarantine on how to do this appropriately.
Yeah.
So doing this protects mental bandwidth and reestablishes individual identity outside of the clinical role. Yeah, I think that a lot of therapists get burnt out when they always feel like a therapist 24/7.
Yeah.
You can't be.
No.
Yeah. The fifth one is cognitive reframing of mistakes. So this would be identifying internal reactions to clients without self-criticism.
Yeah. This is a hard one for therapists. Recognizing maybe when we said or did something that wasn't what we wanted to do or say ideally, but being able to reframe it not as a mistake, but as an opportunity to grow and even to grow our relationship with the client.
Yeah, it's so easy to replay everything you said in a session on your drive home.
Oh, yeah. Stopping
yourself from doing that, giving yourself some grace, knowing that you're a person too. Yeah, you're not just a therapist. You're a human.
That's right.
Yeah. So this reduces the perfectionism burden and it fosters self-compassion. The sixth one is play as professional development. So engaging in a hobby that has nothing to do with therapy, learning a new language, martial arts, singing. We were actually just talking before filming about how my one thing is getting my nails done. Yeah, I don't have to be a therapist during that moment. I normally don't talk to my nail tech at all. What are some other ways that we can engage in activities or hobbies that have nothing to do with being a therapist?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's endless possibilities there. But yeah, finding something that is life-giving to you, engaging to you.
Yes.
And I think trying new things can be really helpful for us as well. Keeps our brains working, creating new pathways, and it kind of keeps us fresh. So that can be, like thinking of cooking classes, different arts classes, learning a new sport, or even traveling if you're able to travel to new places.
I think the tendency is for therapists to numb themselves, to get away from the therapist's brain, to maybe binge watch a TV show or eat a lot of junk food. And those things don't really serve us. So yeah, finding something that engages the brain still keeps you alert, but also is not therapy. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about some ways to practically implement these skills. So one of them could be the tiny ritual method. So that would be picking just one thing to try for 5 minutes tomorrow. Yeah. What would you do to implement this tomorrow?
I think that I would try maybe some of these sensory tools.
Yeah.
So maybe I would grab a bag of mints or something to keep in my office. Something really simple like that doesn't require me going somewhere or doing something different, really just sitting in my office.
I've been thinking that I want to try to walk the hallways in between sessions instead of sitting in my office, to have like an actual separation from my office and a different space to reset my brain a little bit. Yeah, something that's easy and we can do in 5 minutes. Yeah. Another way that we can implement this is through accountability. So maybe finding a person or a peer group to normalize these practices with. So even just this conversation we're having with each other, I can ask you if you bought your mints, and you can ask me if I've been going for walks in between my sessions.
Yeah.
And making it known to people what your plan is to take care of yourself as a therapist. If you're a therapist listening to this podcast right now or watching, I would love if you would comment some uncommon self-care techniques that you're engaging in. We would love to read them so we can get better ideas. I'm sure other listeners would love to read them so we can get ideas. And thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.